goeasternathletics.com. We're here with head coach Karli Bustos. Coach, a couple of tough matches over the weekend. You guys fell to Texas women's in 4 on Friday, and then fell to DBU in 3 on Saturday. Aaliyah Butler, she had a good weekend for you guys. She hit 450, I believe, on Friday, and then 538 on Saturday. Can you just talk a little bit about your team's play and then a little bit about Aaliyah Butler's play over this weekend?
Yeah, so I think our team overall this weekend, we definitely had a better fight against Texas women's versus than on Saturday against DBU, and I think that just kind of goes if you look at the stats alone. We're trying to do 2 ace to 1 error ratio, and against Texas women's we had 7 aces to 11 errors, so that was a little closer, and then against DBU it was 1 to 10. So that alone can kind of show you the two differences between the two matches. And then also we struggled a little bit more on our passing game against DBU than we did against Texas women's. And so, that kind of shows you how we had 4 sets on Friday and a sweep on Saturday. And also I think the number one thing is when you play those really good teams, you have to figure out how to find maintenance and a level of consistency. And I think that we are still pretty high on our errors. And so that's kind of what's, getting kind of dictating what the score ends up being. Like we get through those halfway points and then we're giving them 3 to 4 point runs. And, when you're giving 2 to 3 servers 2 to 3 points, that can kind of bust open a game when you play at this level. So I definitely think that's something that we need to continue growing on, and also make a bigger goal for us to not allow teams to score more than 2 for sure. And if that does happen, at least happen within 4 rotations, rotation 1 and then rotation 4, versus it being kind of back to back or every other server. So that's something that we're working on. Aaliyah Butler, I'm actually happy for her because I think it's been a little bit of a struggle for her a little bit throughout the season. And we did know, like, coming in, she's a kid that we brought in the spring. And, we brought her in because, obviously she's a great human, but also her athleticism alone. Like, we knew that she's someone that could elevate really high and be someone that can compete in the Lone Star, and she definitely has the physicality to do those things. And so I think it's just taken her a while to find her rhythm, but I'm hoping that it's finally clicked, and that's what you were able to see on the weekend, because she's kind of a kid that we expect to have those numbers. It's just about her finding consistency and being comfortable out there, and I think she was finally able to do that. So we're excited to see how that plays out in the weeks moving forward. Because if we have her and Sofia Valdez firing on all cylinders, like, we're going to be pretty lethal offensively.
Just the whole unit as a whole. If you guys have the whole unit firing on all cylinders, you have a Maya Speller in the middle, your 2 outside hitters. If you get everybody on one page in one game, you guys are going to be a tough team in the Lone Star to compete with. So yeah, some consistency I think was going to help you guys. Just moving forward, the freshmen have been a little bit, talking about the roller coaster up and down a little bit. Can you talk a little bit about their play and how you've seen their growth over this season?
Yeah, so that's a group I'm really excited about. I mean, it's a really large group. We had to bring in a lot of new faces to our program this season, and I think the freshman is our biggest class. And for instance, we have 3 setters in that class, and so all of our setters are freshmen, and that's a really hard load to put on anyone alone, let alone a freshman. And I think the best thing about that group is that they're really a great unit, because they really do push each other. For instance, like when one of them comes off the court, they're always feeding information to each other, whether they're on or off the court. And so I think that's also been a big part of their growth. And they're also different, and they bring different things to the table. And I think, like you said, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster for all of the freshmen, which is something you can expect, especially when you're competing in Division II volleyball, and especially in the Lone Star Conference. And so I think, it's something that we expect, and just, giving them time to grow. And then the other thing is, those kids, they come in and get a lot of reps. They have fresh bodies, so they still have the ability to come in and rep it out. And so, like, even outside of practice, like, they're coming in on Sunday, they're coming in the mornings, they're coming in the evenings. And so I think that's been a big attribute to their growth. And so they're able to kind of really just work through those motions, and they really take in the coaching and take it into account. And I know, like, when they're getting in those outside reps, you really can see them focusing on the things that we told them that they need to improve on.
Yeah, so moving forward, the Lone Star Conference every night is a grind, and any team can beat any team any given night. This past weekend Oklahoma Christian beat Angelo State. Angelo State top 25 team. So that just kind of tells you, the range of the conference. Lubbock Christian coming to town on Tuesday tomorrow night. Rematch with them. What are some things that you think it's going to take for the Greyhounds to win on tomorrow night?
Well, I think again, like finding that level of consistency. And like you said, if we can fire on all cylinders, we do have a very big and athletic team. I mean, it's not that we're undersized in the Lone Star by no means. It's not that we don't have the athleticism. I think it's just a matter of like we are a new team and we're still learning one another and also building our chemistry and kind of figuring out what it takes to be a team that can be relentless and lean into each other. And I think those are things that we're consistently working on and communicating about. Um, but again, like we are a very new team. So that part of the process is just a part of it. And so, you're going to see that in the outcomes of the games. And so I think the nice thing is that thus far our team has done really well with all of our rematches. We've been able to win each and every single one of them. Like we played Western and Sul Ross, lost to them the first weekend, and then we were able to come back and beat them in the pod. And so Lubbock Christian is the third team that we're going to have a rematch in. And I think that definitely makes our team be a little bit more comfortable. And I think they're a little gritty in those moments just because they kind of take it a little more personal. And so I'm hoping that if we're able to kind of do what we did, like we saw against Western and Sul Ross. And again, Western's a great team. Like they just beat Kingsville, which Kingsville was undefeated in the Lone Star. So I think that says a lot about our team as well. Again, we match up well with Western because we're both the bigger teams, and I think Lubbock is, they're 12-4. They haven't lost in the Lone Star thus far, and so they're a gritty team. They have some good defense, good passing, and some really good settings. So I think that it's going to be a dogfight. But again, I think that the level of comfortability coming into the game on Tuesday is, at least from what I've seen with the girls, is high. And so I'm hoping that will help build that consistency and there's a little bit less nerves. The familiarity of it will help them going into the match.
And then, can you just give us a couple of reasons why you think some of the fans should come out and support the Greyhounds tomorrow night?
Of course, I think first and foremost, like we're really working hard to put a quality product that Portales and Eastern New Mexico can be proud of. I think that was one big goal of mine is like I really want to get the community involved and I want to kind of bring some type of action into Portales. And then also like volleyball is a really fun and exciting sport. If you come out and you watch, I think, it's a high energy game. It's a fast paced game. There's a lot of athleticism. And I think that people really like that. And, there's no weather conditions, you're inside a gym. So I think if y'all come out, I think that you're going to be excited. You're going to like what you see, especially from not just us, but the Lone Star in general. The Lone Star is a very hefty conference in Division II for volleyball. And so I think that that's something that the fans should come and check in, as we move forward.
So again, the Greyhounds take on Lubbock Christian tomorrow night at 6 p.m. here in Portales. Go Greyhounds.
Go Hounds.